Welcome to the Scenario Podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. When we talk about feeling better mentally, our minds often jump to things like therapy or mindfulness, maybe hitting the gym. And those are great, truly powerful tools. But what if there's something else, something often overlooked, but, absolutely critical for your brain? Today, we're diving into vitamin B6. It's also called pyridoxine. And this isn't just, another vitamin on the list. Think of it more like a master key for your brain's mood and motivation systems. It's vital, often underappreciated, and involved in, over 100 enzyme reactions, the real kicker. So many are directly tied to brain function. It's a coenzyme, a helper, basically. It helps make key neurotransmitters. We're talking serotonin, dopamine, GABA, norepinephrine, all those chemicals that really dictate your mood, your drive, how you cope with stress, even how sharp you feel.
Exactly. And that connection is precisely why not having enough B6 can show up as, very real symptoms. Things like feeling depressed, more anxious than usual, maybe irritable, or just having that mental fatigue you can't shake. There was actually a key study published back in 2004, I think it was, Psychotherapy and Psychosomatics. It found that people diagnosed with depression had significantly lower levels of vitamin B6 in their blood compared to people who weren't depressed. Which, it's more than just a correlation. It strongly suggests there might be a real causal link there, how B6 impacts our mental state.
A potential causal link. That's a big statement. So what does that really mean for someone, say, struggling with low mood who maybe hasn't thought about nutrition much? Are we kind of suggesting B6 could be a missing piece, something overlooked?
I think that's a fair way to put it. It means that while, yes, many things affect mental health, the basic biochemistry, like having enough B6, might be a real bottleneck. If your brain literally can't make enough of these mood chemicals because it's missing a key ingredient, well, then addressing that ingredient seems pretty important, doesn't it?
Right. That makes perfect sense. So that really sets up our mission for today, then. We're going to pull back the curtain on how vitamin B6 works, at the foundational brain level, really explore its role in mood and motivation. Then we'll dig into the science, the studies linking B6 to mental well-being. And finally, we'll chat about whether maybe supplementation could be relevant for you, especially if you're dealing with low mood, burnout, that annoying brain fog, or just chronic stress. Seriously, if you've felt emotionally flat, kind of unmotivated or mentally tired, the issue might not be just in your head. It could be a sign your brain isn't getting the biochemical support it needs. Okay, let's unpack this a bit more. We've said B6 is important, fundamental even. But what does that really mean? Is it just another vitamin, or is there something special about it?
It's definitely special in how it functions. First off, it's a water-soluble B vitamin. That means your body doesn't store much of it, so you need a regular supply. But the form that really matters for the brain, for neurotransmitters, is its active form. Pyridoxal 5-phosphate, we usually just call it PLP. Now, PLP isn't just hanging around, it's the critical coenzyme, that helper molecule, in over 140 different enzyme reactions. That's a lot. And many of these involve amino acids, the actual building blocks for serotonin, dopamine, GABA, norepinephrine. So you could almost think of PLP as like the brain's biochemical engineer directly managing the assembly line for your most vital neurochemical.
A biochemical engineer. I like that analogy. It makes it clear. So what are the main jobs of this engineer, this PLP, specifically for our brain health?
Oh, they're quite diverse. First, and probably most critical, is neurotransmitter synthesis. PLP is absolutely essential to convert amino acids. Think tryptophan into serotonin or glutamate into GABA, both crucial for emotional regulation. Then there's amino acid metabolism. B6 helps regulate something called homocysteine. High levels of homocysteine aren't good. They're linked to things like brain atrophy, even depression. B6 helps clear it out, keeping things healthy.
Okay, so it's cleaning up potential problems too.
Exactly. It also plays a role in hemoglobin production. That means better oxygen transport by red blood cells. More oxygen to the brain can definitely help fight fatigue and brain fog. And lastly, gluconeogenesis. This is about generating glucose energy in the liver. So B6 helps make sure your brain has fuel even during fasting or stress, like a backup generator for mental energy.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of critical functions. So when we talk about the science linking B6 to mood and thinking, how solid is that evidence? Is it just hints or is it pretty compelling?
Oh, it's genuinely compelling. Research consistently shows an inverse correlation between PLP levels and symptoms of depression and anxiety. Simply put, lower PLP levels often mean higher symptom scores. There was a large population study published in Psychosomatic Medicine in 2008 Moret and colleagues, they found lower B6 levels were significantly tied to a higher risk of depressive symptoms. And that was even after they adjusted for other factors like age, smoking, alcohol.
Okay, so lower B6 is associated with higher risk.
Right.
But does taking extra B6 actually help, or is it more just about preventing deficiency?
Great question. And that's where we look at intervention studies. A randomized controlled trial, pretty recent one from 2022 in human psychopharmacology, showed something quite striking. They gave healthy young adults a high dose of B6 100 milligrams a day for a month, and they saw notable reductions in anxiety and also a trend towards better mood. The researchers suggested it was likely due to B6 boosting GABAergic inhibition, essentially helping the brain apply the brakes, promoting calmness.
So it helps activate the calming pathways.
Precisely. And there's more. A big review in Nutrients from 2020 concluded B6 is just critical for mental health. They pointed to its role in making neurotransmitters, yes, but also in regulating the HPA axis, that's your main stress response system. The review noted that deficiencies could make you more sensitive to stress, disrupt sleep, and cause mood problems. And it's not just mood. Another analysis, this one by Clark and colleagues back in 2003, focused on cognitive decline. It showed that people with higher PLP levels tended to have slower cognitive aging and, interestingly, better mood stability too. So yeah, to circle back, vitamin B6 really is fundamental. It's a cofactor needed to make those key brain chemicals. Serotonin, the happy hormone for mood stability. Dopamine for reward, motivation, focus. GABA, the main calming neurotransmitter, reducing anxiety, and norepinephrine for alertness and energy under stress. B6 is like the essential spark plug for that whole chemical engine in your brain.
Okay, spark plug, I get that. So if B6 is that critical cofactor, what does it actually feel like when those production lines, that engine, starts to sputter? What's the impact of that biochemical bottleneck you mentioned?
Well, when those lines slow down because there isn't enough B6, it can feel like a persistent drag on everything. Let's break it down. First, mood stability. B6 is directly needed to turn tryptophan into serotonin. Not enough B6 means slower conversion. That can lead straight to feeling down, anxious, maybe more emotionally reactive. Same for GABA synthesis. B6 is essential there too. Less GABA means less of that natural calming effect, potentially more irritability, feeling overwhelmed.
Right, so mood takes a hit. What about motivation?
That's the second key area, motivation and dopamine regulation. B6 is required to make dopamine from its precursor, L-DOP. Dopamine drives motivation, goal setting, reward perception. Low B6 could mean your dopamine system is underpowered. That translates to apathy, low drive, that feeling of fatigue, even when you've rested, like trying to floor the accelerator, but the engine just won't respond properly.
Okay, that makes sense. And you mentioned hormones too.
Yes. Thirdly, hormonal balance. B6 plays a role here, particularly with PMS symptoms, and also how your body handles stress hormones like cortisol. It's actually been shown to be pretty effective for alleviating some common PMS issues, irritability, fatigue, those mood swings. It helps smooth things out.
That's really interesting, especially the PMS connection. So many people struggle with that.
Yeah.
Does it affect other hormones significantly too, or is PMS the main one?
Well, PMS is a really clear example. Its broader influence on stress hormone metabolism, like cortisol, is also quite important. By helping your body break down and clear out stress hormones efficiently, it can help regulate your overall response to chronic stress. And that, of course, feeds back into mood and energy levels day to day. So it's not just cyclical, it's about general resilience, too.
This is all sounding incredibly important. So for someone listening, what are the telltale signs, the red flags? How might you even guess that maybe a B6 deficiency, even a mild one, is playing a role in how you feel?
Yeah, even mild shortages can make a difference. Look out for things like persistent irritability, maybe mood swings that seem out of character. That ongoing fatigue, low motivation we talked about, brain fog, feeling forgetful, having trouble managing stress, feeling easily overwhelmed. Even poor sleep quality can be linked. In more significant deficiencies, you might get actual physical symptoms like tingling or numbness, usually in hands or feet.
And are some people more likely to run low than others?
Definitely. Certain groups are at higher risk, people under chronic stress, for one. Individuals taking oral contraceptives can have lower B6 levels, also those with poor diets, obviously, or absorption issues, think conditions like IBS or celiac disease. Heavy alcohol consumption is another factor. And older adults sometimes have lower levels, too.
Okay, so if someone recognizes some of those signs, maybe falls into a risk group, how much B6 are we talking about? What's the daily goal, and how high can you safely go for, say, therapeutic support?
Good question. The basic recommended daily intake, the RDI, it varies a bit, but for most adults, it's around 1.3 to 1.7 milligrams per day. That's just for preventing clear deficiency. However, for therapeutic purposes like specifically targeting mood support or PMS, dosages often range from 50 up to 100 milligrams per day. But, and this is really important, you absolutely should talk to a healthcare provider before starting high doses like that. The official tolerable upper intake level is set at 100 milligrams per day from supplements. Going much higher, say 200 milligrams or more long-term, can potentially cause nerve issues. So it's about finding the right balance, and professional guidance is key. Don't just guess.
Right. Always best to check first. So, assuming someone wants to boost their intake, either through diet or maybe considering a supplement, how do we get this crucial nutrient effectively? Best sources?
Absolutely. Food first is always a great strategy. Chickpeas are a fantastic plant-based source, really high in B6. You also find good amounts in fish like salmon and tuna, poultry like turkey and chicken. Bananas are decent. Many breakfast cereals are fortified with it. Even potatoes have some.
Okay, so some common foods there. What about supplements? You mentioned that active form.
Yes, P5P. Pyridoxal 5-phosphate, that's the active form. It generally offers better absorption and bioavailability. It's especially worth considering for people who might have issues converting the regular form, maybe due to liver issues or just individual genetics. P5P basically bypasses that conversion step so your body can use it directly. So, if we try to tie all this together, connect it to the bigger picture, it becomes really clear that vitamin B6 isn't just a nutrient. It's more like a biochemical bridge connecting your physical body to your mood, your mental state, its role in making neurotransmitters, regulating mood, driving motivation, helping you handle stress. It's fundamental, it's undeniable, and it's deeply impactful.
That's perfectly put. A biochemical bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening and feeling emotionally unstable, maybe unmotivated, just constantly overwhelmed, it might not just be your circumstances, right? It could genuinely be a missing piece, a cofactor missing from your brain chemistry. Low B6 could literally mean your brain can't make enough of the molecules it needs to keep you feeling balanced and sharp. Which leads me to a final thought. Considering how deeply B6 is woven into our basic brain chemistry, what other, maybe subtle nutritional shifts could dramatically impact how we feel day to day? And what does that imply for how we should approach mental wellness, more holistically?
That's a fantastic question to leave people with. It really encourages all of us, doesn't it, to explore that powerful connection between what we eat and how we feel. Maybe it prompts you, the listener, to start thinking about your own nutritional intake, not just as fuel, but as a truly critical, foundational part of your overall mental health strategy.
Thanks for tuning in to the Scenario Podcast. Don't forget to visit scenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.